Have you ever gazed up at a starlit sky and felt a quiet question stir in your chest? What am I, really, in this vast universe? It's not just the physical body you see in the mirror, but something deeper: consciousness, emotions, thoughts, dreams, and even those silent fears. For thousands of years, humans have given this invisible yet vibrant essence a name shrouded in mystery: the soul. But in our modern world, where science reigns supreme, does the idea of a soul still hold any ground? Or is it just a beautiful story we once told ourselves to soothe our unease about death and the unknown? Picture this. You're about to embark on an intellectual adventure, where science, philosophy, and psychology collide, guiding you through uncharted territory. This isn't some dry lecture in a lab, it's a journey that sparks your curiosity, challenges your beliefs, and invites you to rethink who you are. Together, we'll dissect the concept of the soul under the sharp light of science, exploring whether it can be proven, debunked, or reimagined in today's world. Are you ready? Let's dive in. The soul. From myth to scientific reality. Thousands of years ago, as our ancestors huddled around flickering campfires beneath an endless sky, they wondered, what makes us alive? What leaves us when our breath stops? They called it the sola sacred, immortal entity, separate from the physical body, carrying our essence beyond death. In ancient temples, the soul was the bridge to the divine. In Greek philosophy, Plato saw it as an eternal spark, existing before our bodies and outlasting them. For many religions, the soul was the key to our fate: a radiant heaven or a dark abyss. Then science arrived, armed with microscopes, brain scanners, and cold, hard measurements. Science doesn't deal in the unseen or the unprovable. To scientists, the traditional sola, supernatural, immaterial think, can't be studied under a lens. Instead, they point to the brain, a 3-pound marvel of gray matter, buzzing with billions of neurons, and say, this is where consciousness, emotions, and our humanity come from. So, does the soul vanish in a scientific world? Not quite. Science doesn't deny the magic of your inner life, those moments when your heart swells with love or your mind lights up with a new idea. But instead of attributing them to a mystical entity, science insists it's all from the brain, from tiny chemical reactions between neurons, from electric pulses dancing in your skull. In this view, the soul isn't a separate thing. It's the name we've given to the breathtaking complexity of the human mind. The brain, the home of consciousness. Imagine your brain as a grand symphony orchestra. Billions of neurons are the musicians, playing the melodies of consciousness, emotion, and thought. At the center, the prefrontal cortex stands like a conductor, directing decisions, self-awareness, and dreams of tomorrow. The parietal cortex paints your sense of space and time, grounding you in the world. The occipital and temporal cortices turn light into visions and sound into memories. Thanks to tools like functional MRI, fMRI, scientists can watch this orchestra in action. When you smile at a loved one, a brain region lights up. When you drift into a dream, a unique brainwave pattern emerges. But what happens when the music stops? When a brain region is damaged by injury, stroke, or disease, the related tunes fade away. Damage the prefrontal cortex, and someone might lose their ability to decide or recognize themselves. Hurt the parietal cortex, and they could become lost in space and time. This evidence leads neuroscientists to a bold claim: consciousness isn't a detached entity, it's a product of the brain. When the brain shuts down, when death is defined as brain death, consciousness, thoughts, and feelings end too. No immaterial soul required, science says. The brain alone can explain what makes us human. Decoding spiritual mysteries. Not everyone buys the scientific story, though. Millions worldwide cling to the soul, pointing to experiences that defy easy answers. Let's see how science responds. Near-death experiences, NDEs. You've heard the tales, people dying and coming back, describing leaving their bodies, passing through tunnels, seeing bright lights, or meeting lost loved ones. For many, this proves the soul's existence. But science offers a twist. When the brain runs low on oxygen, like during cardiac arrest, it releases endorphins and conjures vivid hallucinations. Temporal lobe glitches can create that out-of-body feeling. ENDs, science says, are the brain's final performance, not a soul's journey. Out-of-body experiences, OBS. Some claim they've floated above their bodies, looking down from above. Sounds like a soul breaking free, right? Yet scientists have recreated OBS in labs by stimulating the temporoparietal junction, TPJ, the brain's hub for body and space perception. OBS might just be a brain glitch, not a spiritual escape. Intuition and gut feelings. Ever had a weird feeling that something was about to happen, and it did? Many call this the soul's whisper. Science counters. Intuition comes from your brain processing info subconsciously, drawing on past patterns and experiences. No soul needed. Your brain's smart enough to predict on its own. Morality and conscience. That inner voice telling you right from wrong, surely it's the soul's sacred mark. Not so fast, says science. Morality evolved to foster cooperation in human societies, and conscience is shaped by upbringing and culture. It's biology and life experience, not a divine spark. The soul as an emergent property. Consciousness beyond matter. Science doesn't just dismiss, also dares to dream. Some researchers and philosophers propose emergency when simple parts combine to create something entirely new. Think of water. Hydrogen and oxygen are gases, but together as H2O, they form a liquid marvel. Could consciousness be an emergent property of billions of neurons interacting in the brain? If so, might it stretch beyond the physical? Some speculate that consciousness isn't just a brain byproduct, could follow its own rules. Like water's fluidity defies predictions from hydrogen alone, perhaps consciousness doesn't fully die with the body but lingers in some form we don't yet grasp. It's not the classic soul, but a bold, mind-bending possibility. The soul in psychology. The self as the new soul. Psychology doesn't hunt for an ethereal soul, but it's obsessed with the self, what we might call the modern soul. Yourself is your sense of you, who you are, what you believe, what you chase. It's forged from genes, environment, and life's twists, from a parent's hug to a failure that taught you resilience. Your personality, your humor, kindness, or gritty, your unique fingerprint, no one else's match. Self-awareness. The ability to think about your thought sets you apart from a dog or a tree. To psychology, the soul isn't a ghostly entity. It's the rich tapestry of yourself, personality, and consciousness, woven through every day you live. Philosophy. Is the soul information? Philosophy of mind takes us to the big question. How do mind and body connect? Materialism says only matter exists, and consciousness is a brain byproduct. But some modern thinkers imagine more. Consciousness as information, like software, isn't tied to one computer. Could the information of your mind, memories, emotions, essence exist beyond your physical brain? If so, when your body dies, that data might persist somewhere in the cosmos. It's a wild idea, redefining the soul for a digital age. The journey goes on. Science has carried us far, from ancient myths to brain-scanning breakthroughs. Yet the soul's mystery lingers, a distant star our telescopes can't quite reach. Science hasn't proven an immortal soul, but it hasn't slammed the door shut either. Consciousness, that wondrous gift, letting you laugh, cry, love, and dream, remains a grand puzzle. So, what do you think? Is the soul a spiritual entity, or just a poetic name for your mind's magic? Whatever you believe, live fully with the incredible consciousness you've got. Explore, love, create. That's how you honor your soul, whatever it may be. The journey's not over, and every step you take is part of the wonder.